it rock, yeah. Side to side, left and right, take it slow, yeah, baby, come on, do it just right. And side to side, left to right, take it slow, yeah, baby, come on, do it just right. Yeah. Make it rock, yeah.
Tell me, pretty lady, now if you don't give, did you ever really think, did you ever really feel that this was something we'd both show? Was it something we could know? Tell me, little darling, what you don't find. Did you ever really think, did you ever really try to give me all of you to know? Or did you just let go? What do you want from me? Honey, I can't even breathe. Tell me, if I found what you can't see, would you come back to me? Tell me now, baby, would you come my way if I was a better man? If I could change, I would. But I find I'm at a loss for words, and even when they come, it hurts. What do you want from me? Honey, I can't even breathe. Tell me, if I found what you can't see, would you come back to me? Tell me, baby.
I found that photo in the sofa, and it's from way back in '01. So I guess there's much I never told you, like who I am, who I love, where I've been and where I came from. Grew up on 913 of Blue Rock. Memories of 6 kids running around those halls. Then out in the California sunshine, we wore no shoes through alley-oops and shattered windows throwing baseballs. Mom packed me a brown bag every day, from 5 years old up to 18. A note that said I love you XO, and all my friends, they're begging me, making bids on Mom's fresh cookies. And I quit playing ball at age 15, traded my new bat for an old guitar. It broke Dad's heart, but he still loved me, and he was there at every show. No more jersey, just tuxedos. I'm feeling on top of the world, like nothing's ever gonna bring me down. This feeling got me flying high as a bird. I may never touch the ground. It may not be my birthday, but I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate, 'cause it's a good day, good life. I just wanna celebrate all night. There's magic coursing throughout my veins. I don't want it to stop. I feel invincible in every way. I'ma give it all I got. It may not be my birthday, but I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate, 'cause it's a good nothing like feeling alive. I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate. 'Cause it's a good day, good life. I just wanna celebrate all night. I just wanna celebrate all night.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. I see you broken and beat, hat pulled down over your eyes. Every part of you wants to surrender, but darling, you were meant to survive. With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head. With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head. Just like a seed in a garden, you will grow to be tall, staring out over miles of land without it, but wanting to build up walls. Lift me up in your branches, we can watch the sunrise. Just a couple of bruised up souls that believe that it was worth one more try. With every star, we are born again. Open your heart and spend less time in your head. With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
Hello, Tony Robbins family and community. Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome from around the world. Get up out of your seats if you can. Shake the body off, shake off the day. Welcome to our special mini training. Hello, guys. Good to see you. Hello. Whoa, yes. Hello, everyone, our Tony Robbins family and community. I want to officially welcome you to today's special mini training. My name is Carissa, and I will be your host for the day for the 5 keys to transform your life. This is an incredibly powerful training with the legend, Mr. Tony Robbins. And we've got thousands of you tuning in today, either live right now. If you're live, put live in the chat box. We also have some of you that are going to watch this on replay. But I can't go another moment without addressing that if you are here, you recently just completed Unleash the Power Within. And we want to celebrate and congratulate all of you. Give it up for everyone, you beautiful, unleashed human beings. Beautiful, beautiful. Whoa, yes. You know, it is truly a gift to be able to come back together and reunite with people around the globe that have had a similar experience. And Tony designed today's session, today's mini training, to help you channel all of the transformation that you got from UPW into your life and really create momentum. This event today is about momentum. If you've ever had an experience before where you really genuinely thought, like, this book, this training, this seminar is going to change my life, and a couple months later or a couple years later, you found yourself going back to who you were in the past, who's been there before, it's different now. And it's different because you've got a really incredible man named Tony Robbins that's going to teach you the 5 keys to transform your life. These 5 keys are going to help you keep your momentum strong. As humans, we are all wired for growth. We are wired for expansion. And today's training is going to teach you just how to channel all of that growth into your life. So Tony's going to be with us in just a moment. We'll be together for about 45 minutes to an hour. You never know how Tony's standard time goes, but we're really going to try to keep it tight today. And he is going to be making a very special announcement at the end of today's training session. So I invite you to stay put all the way until the end. If you're down to be here for the whole time, no matter what, put "oh yes" inside that chat box. Okay, great. I've got a couple tips for you, just 3 quick ones, and I'm going to bring Tony to the stage. Number 1, close out any distractions that you may have going on. If you have browsers up on your computer screen, if you have a date scheduled in 30 minutes, it's not too late to cancel it. Give yourself the gift of total focus, because this experience might just transform, if not your whole life, a really important area of your life. Second tip is take notes like crazy. Just take a moment right now, grab a pen, grab a notebook, make sure you have some type of tool to capture these teachings. These are the 5 keys that Tony uses in his own life, and he taught me early on that success leaves clues. So you're gonna get a lot of clues today on how to be successful and transform your life in the ways that matter to you most. So it's really crucial you jot those down, and by writing them or typing them or speaking them, it's gonna help increase your retention rate of this information upwards of about 80%. So really important. If you're down to do that, say "oh yes." And then third and final is, we always say this, play full out, just like you are at an Unleash the Power Within event. And that really comes down to your physiology and the way you are holding your body. If not your camera being on and being in the chat box and taking notes, your physical body and the way you hold yourself is the most important. So tune in right now. Are your shoulders up or are they down? Is your head up or is it down? Shift your shoulders back, lift your head up, put a smile on your face, and get some energy in your body. Tony is going to communicate with you in the chat box today, so have energy in your screen with your camera on, and then connect with him and communicate in the chat box. Other than that, I think it's time we get some energy in our own bodies, and then we bring Tony up to the stage. What do you guys say? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for an incredible training today? Say yes. All right, let's shake the body out. Stand up if you're physically capable. We're going to crank it for just 5 seconds, and then I'm going to bring Tony to the screen in 3, 2, 1. Come on. Move it. guys are so amazing. Please join me in welcoming the incredible Mr. Tony Robbins to the screen.
Thanks, everybody, for the warm welcome. Listen, I just want to thank you all and congratulate you. I know so many of you, 1.5 million of you from almost every country in the world, 195 countries, all the countries the UN recognized, participated in the challenge in January. And I had a chance to see, your Facebook posts each day and how you're making progress and what you were doing. And I just want to thank you for playing so full out and also for supporting each other. And I know, though, after time, things drift a little bit. It's just you lose momentum. It's part of the process. It's like working out. You got to do it daily, right? So I want to give you a quick little mini training real fast. Just 5 little points that I think can help you to maximize and keep that momentum going and getting the results you want in your life. And if you just want to unleash the power within, I know your results. I've been reading those. Those have been so inspiring. The transformations in your relationships, in your business, in your finances, in your money, financial, emotional areas, all the areas that matter most spiritually. It's been gorgeous to read and gorgeous to see. So I know you already have momentum, but I figure these are just 5 quick keys that'll be helpful. And then I want to give you a quick announcement of something really exciting. So please stick around for the end here so I can share that announcement with you as well. But let me just add some value to you in a simple way. We're living in challenging times, right? We made it through COVID. We got lots of inflation, and there's always something to be concerned about, something to be stressed about, because we're in a season called winter. Winter doesn't last forever. No, pandemic lasts forever. No war lasts forever. It doesn't matter what it is. Things come to an end, they change, and something new is created. But in order to make it through those times when it seems dark and challenging, we got to maximize our skills. And it's the skills to control our own mind, our own emotions, and our own results, our actions, which is where our results come from. And so I thought I'd share with you that when I was really just getting started, when I was really young, I was 17 years old, I was really obsessed with trying to find ways to improve my life. And part of that was I grew up in a really tough environment. Some of you know I had 4 different fathers, a pretty intense mom who I love dearly. She's since passed, but when she used drugs and alcohol, the mixture of those two, prescription drugs and alcohol, change your personality, make things pretty tough. So I grew up in a tough environment. But the good news about that tough environment is it made me look for answers. It didn't let me settle. It made me hungry. And if you ask me, what's the single most important element of someone's success? Well, obviously, intelligence is fairly important, right? Really, I love wickedly smart people. But there are lots of smart people that can't fight their way out of a paper bag. And the reason is because it's not enough to be smart. You have to be hungry to be more, to do more, to create more, to want to contribute more to the world, to not settle. And if you're watching me right now and listening to me right now, you obviously have that mindset or you wouldn't pop on this little mini training here, this little conversation that we're having right now. So when I was 17 years old, I went to this seminar, some of you know, by Jim Rohn, this personal development speaker. And I know many of you probably heard of him. He passed away many years ago. But he taught me some really fundamental things. He taught me that for things to get better, you've got to get better. For things to change, you've got to change. You can't just hope. Hope is not a strategy. And he taught me the idea that success leaves clues, that if you want to be really successful at anything, you can. Find somebody who's super successful, figure out what they do differently than you, and do that. If you sow the same seeds, you'll reap the same rewards. So I remember going to a seminar. I was 17 years old. I scraped together the money. It was $35. It'd be like $250 in today's money for a little 3-hour seminar. And I was on fire, man. I was so excited. I was 17 years old. I'm going to go change the world. And of course, then I ran into some challenges because, in my family, there were quite a few conflicts. And one night, my mom decided to kick my father out, my 4th father. And she was a powerful lady. And my dad left, and I talked back a little bit, I guess, was the perception. I was just defending my dad. And so my mom chased me out of the house on Christmas Eve with a knife. And I knew she wasn't going to hurt me or kill me, but I wasn't going back in that house. And so it's Christmas Eve, it's raining, and I got to figure out what to do. I have nothing. I should kept my 1960 Volkswagen, earned it $40 a week as a janitor. And I decided I'll spend the night on top of this hill, this base little mountain nearby. And of course, then it rained. So I'm trying to stay warm under a tree, wrapped in these little blankets that I grabbed. And so the next night I went to a girlfriend's house, a girl that was a friend, not a girlfriend. And her parents let me stay in their laundry room. And I was depressed. I felt like my younger brother is 5 years younger, my sister's 7 years younger. They were the love of my lives, and I was separated from them. I was separated from my family. And I didn't know what to do. And I thought back on Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn had this philosophy. And I remember him sharing, he said, one of the most important things you have to every day is stand guard at the door of your own mind. That somehow you've got to train your mind to think the right thoughts, because all of our emotions come from our thinking. All our relationships come from our emotions. All of the results, all of our actions come from our emotions and decisions. So if you can take control of that, you can change your whole life. And I remember when he was with me, when I was sitting there that night, feeling so depressed, it's like, I've got to change my life. What do I got to do? I got to take control of my mind. And so the first thing I did was I took a little bit of cash I had. I had about, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks, 20, 23, 24, $25, something like that. And I took these buses to this bookstore that was about, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes away. And it was a spiritual bookstore I'd been to once. And I just felt like I'm going to find a book there that's going to change my life. Because Jim Rohn had always said leaders are readers. And I picked up this book called The Magic of Believing by Claude M. Bristol. And in this book, I read every page over and over again. It talked about how to program your mind, how to condition your brain and your thinking. And he said, think about it this way, Tony. He says, because I was telling him about my life and I was having all these challenges and, reaching out, trying to get some way of getting some help to go to work for him. And he said, Tony, people get what they have to have, but you have to train your mind. You're just settling for so much. And he said, you can tell me all these things, but who are you spending time with? Who's feeding your mind? And I told him a few people. He goes, well, they're the wrong people to hang out with. He said, think of it this way, Tony. What if your worst enemy drops sugar in your coffee? What's going to happen? I said, you're going to have sweet coffee. He said, what if your best friend or a family member or somebody that really loves you by accident, not intentionally, drops one drop of strychnine in your coffee? I said, you'd be dead. He goes, that's right. So life is both sugar and strychnine, so you got to watch your coffee. He said, every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. And what that means, Tony, is you have to feed your mind. Whatever you feed it is what you experience. And he said, the more you feed it the right things, the stronger you'll become, the more decisive, the more clear. But you can't let the world feed you that. Because most of us know at this point, the media, they're not bad people. They're just doing their job. What is their job? It's to get our attention, right? The news is not designed to inform us anymore. It's designed to startle us because we're not in an information age. There's too much information, right? People are drowning in information. They're starving for wisdom. And so he said, you've got to go pursue it. Like, great ideas are not going to interrupt you, Tony. He said, the stuff that's going to interrupt you, like today, it comes to your phone, right? We call it clickbait. It's just something designed to grab your attention. No, get a book, he said. You need to make this your discipline. He said, every day you got to feed and strengthen your mind. Stand the guard at the door of your mind. Don't let other things in, and feed it. And he said, the way you do it is you get books and you read at least 30 minutes a day. He goes, miss a meal, don't miss your 30 minutes. Because that's the fabric you're going to feed your life from. He used to say something humorous. He said, Tony, if you want to be successful and you want to be happy, you want to be fulfilled, he said, find out what poor people read and don't read it. He said, I don't mean poor just financially. Do you ever notice how mad people get more mad, angry people get more angry, sad people get more sad, happy people tend to get more happy? He said, you got to find out what they're doing different than you are. And if you keep feeding your mind on a daily basis, it'll accumulate. And pretty soon you'll be thinking differently than everyone else. You'll make different decisions. You'll have a completely different life. Plus, one thing I learned over the years is if you want to be happy, what's going to make you really happy? There's nothing will make you happy. He always taught me, Tony, what you get won't make you happy. Who you become will make you really happy or really sad. And it's not just getting there. Right? If you don't protect your mind, you can achieve something and still be depressed. I'm sure you know people that achieved everything and took their own lives. So it's not enough. What makes us really happy is one word: progress. Progress equals happiness. If you can find a way to keep making progress daily, you are going to feel on fire. Even if you want to lose 30 pounds, you only lose the first 3 or 4 pounds. Just those first 3 or 4 pounds will give you momentum. Plus, whenever you achieve a goal, how long do you stay happy? How long? A week, a month, a year, 6 months, 10 years? No. Most people, that joy or happiness of their achievement lasts a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, or a few months at most. Isn't it true? And the reason is we're not designed to sit at the table of success too long or we get bored and fat. What we really need is to make progress, to keep growing. Because when we grow, we have more to give. And when we give, our life is really meaningful. So for me, the first and most important lesson of all was really that success leaves clues and the answers are out there. And I decided I'm going to read a book a day. I took a speed reading course and I didn't read a book a day, but I read about 700 books, a little more than that, over 7 years. And I did it because I wanted to feed my mind. I found books on philosophy, on psychology, on physiology, how you could change your body, anything that I thought could improve my life. And what I did was I committed to not just read, but to apply what I was reading. Find one thing I could apply and do something with it. Because Jim Rohn used to always say, if you let your learning lead to knowledge, you become a fool. If you let your learning lead to action, you can change your whole life and you can help others do the same. And so for decades and decades, I did this. Now, after a while, I found it hard to get that 30 minutes in. You might find it hard to get those 30 minutes in because I spent time in my car driving to and from the places I was working, which was usually somewhere between 45 minutes an hour each way. And so gradually I started using audio. And now that's easy, but back then it was hard. It's like, where do I get these things that are going to teach me? You couldn't go on YouTube and just get stuff for free, which I had to go down and literally drive down in my little Volkswagen. I got a 1968 Volkswagen and I upgraded. And I went down to downtown Los Angeles, where there's this place called Night Education, K-N-I-G-H-T, like knight with a sword. And there's this man named Mario. He's this Jewish man, beautiful man that became my friend. He was an older man. And I came in my little pot belly. I was 5'1", believe it or not, little short, fat kid. And I said, I want to learn how to change my life. And he goes, well, I have everything here. And this is a day, those of you would not understand, we have these things called cassette tapes were a breakthrough. Before that, it was albums and 8 tracks. You had these little cassette tapes that are really portable. You could listen to them on a little player. You could stick it in your car and play it. There weren't car players in those days, but just you could have a little handheld thing. And in those days, if you wanted to learn something, he had all the best teachers, psychologists, psychiatrists, motivational speakers. But it would be like $300 for 6 cassette tapes and like 3 workbooks. That was the price. And I was making, $40 a week as a janitor. And so I learned that I got to take the money I've saved and invest it in the most important investment of all, which is me. Jim Rohn taught me that there is nothing more important than investing in yourself. It's ironic. A few years back when I was interviewing Warren Buffett, and I said, what's the single most important investment you've ever made? And I thought he was going to say Coca-Cola because I know his investments are Geico. And he goes, Tony, it's what you do. And I said, what do you mean what I do? I do a lot of things. And he said, it's investing in yourself. He said, I went to Dale Carnegie when I was a kid. He said, just a young man. And without the ability to learn how to communicate, all my other ideas would have been a waste. I wouldn't be who I am today. He said, and by the way, people talk about inflation. They're worried about inflation. Inflation, whatever percentage, 8, 9, 10%, less, more, who cares? As long as you become productive, inflation doesn't mean anything, right? If you become better, stronger, smarter, and what he said at the time was he said, Tony, think about this. No one can tax the improvements you make on yourself. And those are things, when you invest in yourself, those are rewards you get to use skills or abilities or emotions or thoughts. You can use those for the rest of your life. And he said, and all you got to do is become 10% more productive. Well, people learn how to make twice as much money in the same time, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, if they find a way to add value. So the first key of the 5 keys I want to give you is you've got to decide every day to feed your mind and strengthen it every day. 30 minutes a day. You can do it with audio. That's what I use most of the time because I can do it what I call net time, no extra time. I can do it while I'm driving in my car. I can do it while I'm working out. I'm doing it helping around the house. And so it allows me to turn like my car and do university on wheels. And so I really want to encourage you this. And if you're going to really make long-term change, you need some daily habits. Does that make sense? If you go to a program immersion, you're going to have explosive change, but then you need the daily habits to keep it growing. And those daily habits is that 30 minutes a day. Are you up for it? All right, good. So by the way, that process of feeding my mind has an accumulative effect. As I mentioned, it stacks and it stacks. Just like if you know finance, if you keep building, you hit a place called critical mass where you have so much value that you're financially free. Well, the same thing happens with your own mind and psychology. But besides feeding and strengthening your mind, the second key you got to do every single day is feed and strengthen your body. And that's not just so you're healthy. It's because your mind and your body work as one. Think about it. Fear is physical. Have you ever been like so uptight, so worried, so stressed, so fearful that it's like you had a hard time swallowing or you felt that feeling in your gut? Well, that's physical. So is courage. Fear is physical, but courage is also. Think about it. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. Like courage means you're afraid, but you did it anyway. You pushed through it. You found that strength inside yourself. And courage is a habit. It's something that could be trained, but you got to be physical to do it. And I learned this from my teachers, not only Jim Rohn, but I really learned this when I started studying neurolinguistic programming, NLP, with the co-founder John Grinder. He taught me that the way you use your body completely wires the way your emotions work as well. So while you're feeding your mind, you got to strengthen that body. Now, some of you know I have a daily discipline, and the first thing I do each day is I jump in this freezing cold water. I'm fortunate enough to have multiple homes, and in each of those homes, I do that. And the water is 56 degrees. At my place in Sun Valley, Idaho, I just had some of my platinum partners there, and we had a party that night, and we all walked through the snow and jumped into the freezing water and got out. Now, this is not designed to be torture, but number one, it has a huge physical effect on your body. It instantly changes the blood flow through your entire body, moves the lymph in your body. So it's really powerful. And it never feels good going in. I've never had a day where I was like, I can't wait to go in the cold water. Never, right? But I do it every day, and I don't hesitate. Why? Because I'm training my brain not only to change my body, but to be in charge of my own mind, right? By using my body, I'm training my brain to say, there's no hesitancy. I don't negotiate with myself. I don't go, well, in a minute when I'm ready, or maybe tomorrow. It's just like, when I say go, we go. And I've done that so often that my nervous system, when I say I'm going to make something happen, it doesn't hold back. It just knows I mean it, and we go for it. So that's just one daily discipline. But maybe it's a workout for you, or maybe it's just something you do. It doesn't have to be like your 30-minute, 40-minute hour workout. Maybe that's a few days a week, whatever you do for working out. But it's something you can do for as little as a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It could be a super strong walk or a nice sprint or in the freezing water or lifting some weights. Something where you have to push yourself beyond what you're comfortable with. Because every time you do that, you build mental, emotional, spiritual muscle, not just physical muscle. Because the mind and body work together. So come up with a daily practice that you're going to do. Something could be really brief, but it's designed to snap you into the strongest state, put you in a state where you push through limitation and fear, because that's the only thing that stops us. Right? We can all get through anything. I know achievers aren't fearful, they just get stressed, right? But stress is the achiever word for fear. When you're stressed about something, I'm stressed about getting this done. Why? Well, if I don't get it done, it'll fall apart. Well, what if it falls apart? Well, then it'll fail. What if it fails? Then I'm a failure. Forget all that. If you feed your mind every single day, just 30 minutes, and you give yourself something, 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, every day, at least 6 days a week, physical, where you're pushing through, where you feel that blood pump and that strength, I'm telling you, it'll change your life more than anything else. And by the way, these are the 5 things I did not only when I first was kicked out of my house, but I did this again in 2008 when the world financial crisis hit, and I had all these companies, and many of them looked like they're going to go bankrupt. Because overnight, the government wasn't supplying money like they did after COVID. It was just a total upside down of the world. Some of you remember that year. And fortunately, none of the companies went under, but it was unbelievably stressful. So I did the same thing. I started feeding my mind. I made my body strong. Went back to these same fundamentals. Key number 3, real quick. You need to find yourself some great role models. Role models make your dreams real. And a role model is not a perfect person. When I was growing up, the biggest thing that seemed to be the problem in my family was money. One of the reasons I feed 100 million people a year, and I've already fed over 1 billion people through Feeding America. Now I'm working on my 100 billion meal challenge. It's not because I'm such a good person. I love to say that. It's I know what it feels like to suffer, and I don't want anybody else to suffer. And so I want to find answers. And early on in my life, my mom kept divorcing fathers of mine. And it was always, we had no money. So I figured money is what destroys relationships. You got to have abundance. And of course, later on in life, I realized that if my family had money, my parents still would have broken up. It was more than just money. But when money isn't handled, when it's a challenge, it can affect your health. It can affect your relationship, all kinds of things. So I decided I was going to master money. And in order to do that, I needed some role models because it seemed impossible to me. Because there was no one in my family or extended family that had done well financially. No one. I had no reference for that. I only read about rich people and things like that. And many people around me had all these judgments about them. And I was like, well, they can't be that bad a person if they built companies and businesses and employed people and provide scholarships and everything else. And so I started to dig again by reading. That was my way of leaving the limited world I was in. And then I went to say, who are role models I could study? And so I found Sir John Templeton. And he wasn't Sir when he started, he was just John Templeton. He from humble roots, but he was a man who became a self-made billionaire, the first self-made billionaire by investing, starting with nothing. And the way he did it is his parents taught him two things. Number one, you're going to save 50% of all you earn. Now, when you teach a kid to do that when they're a kid, they develop the habits, and he managed to do that. Today, people would say, oh, that's impossible. Nothing's impossible. But the most important thing they taught him was the psychology. And this is what I learned from him. I got a chance to study him. And then when I was 30 years old, I got to meet him, interview him. And then I did one of the last interviews before he died, about 4 days before he died. So I got to know the man well. And he's a beautiful man who not only was very wealthy, a billionaire, but he was a man who donated so much money and time and energy to spiritual practices. He donated more than a Nobel Prize for his Templeton Prize that's still out there for people to make the biggest difference spiritually, regardless of what their religion is. And so a beautiful man. But the bottom line is his family taught him, and he learned that you need to know that the worst times don't last forever. No, everything is cyclical. It's like seasons. There's winters, and then winter's followed by springtime. After the worst night, you have a daytime, right? After all the horrible things, beauty happens. That's the cycle of life. And then things will go easy when it's springtime. And then it's kind of a hot summer that tests you. And then there's a great fall. We get rewarded. And then there's a winter again. That's the way season works. And that's what happens within our lives. And so they taught him, you're going to make all your money if you keep your head straight during times of maximum pessimism. When everybody's pessimistic, you can take a small amount of money and earn an enormous amount because you can invest in things. When things are going really well, people want more than their house is worth. They want more than the business is worth. When things are going through the floor and everybody thinks it's the end of the world, it's never the end of the world. It just seems like it. Never lasts. Like I said, no war lasts forever. No recession or depression lasts forever in history. No pandemic lasts forever. What may last longer than you want, but not forever. And now on the other side is beautiful times. And so he learned to do that. And I learned from him. And it became a role model. So he showed me there was a way, starting with nothing, that I could add value to people's lives, and I could also learn to be an investor, and I could grow. So role models aren't perfect, and you might want several, and you're not looking for perfection. Study what they do. Some people are great in their business, terrible with their kids. Don't model that. Find somebody who's great with their kids and model them. That's where the 6 less leaves clues comes. Okay, quickly. Number 4. I said I'd do these fast. Number 4 is you really want to find yourself in a place where you get yourself to no longer just think, but you take action. Like if someone said to you, I know this self-made billionaire who has spent 30 years of their life studying how to improve businesses or improve their life, or I know this person who's lost 40 pounds and kept it off for 10 years, and they're willing to share with you exactly what they did. Well, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you take advantage of it? You and I would, but most people don't. And you and I invest in ourselves. Most people won't. They say, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. They come up with every reason. But one of the things I learned early on is there's no excuse for not taking action. That if you want to be rewarded in this life, when an opportunity shows up, grab it. Grab it by the hair. Don't let it go. Not every opportunity is going to be great. But if you don't take advantage, if you don't say there's a reason this is in front of me right now and I got to do something with it, then it just becomes knowledge, it becomes interesting, and your life doesn't change. Action, massive action is what changes your life. And some people are afraid to take action because they go, I don't know the right thing to do. Well, it's better to take action and see whether it works or not. And if it doesn't, try something different than to sit here and just contemplate what you want to do in the future. So one of the great things I got from Jim Rohn was really the importance of action. If you're not sure what to do something, find a role model, find out what they did first, do the same thing. If you don't know where to start, throw the rock up where it lands, talk to the next person walks by. You're the first person off the rock. I got to ask you something, right? Anything to get momentum going, but massive action is the cure-all. And here's the final step, real fast. And that is, you've got to make sure that if you want an extraordinary life, a life that's meaningful, a life where you're proud, a life where you feel a sense of grace, yes, you must grow. That's what all these other things make us do. But also you must give. And it's not a must give, because when you grow, you want to give. When you grow, you have the gift of something to give someone that's valuable. And early in my life, I realized, my God, there's certain areas of life that really matter. And most people major in minor things. You know what I mean? They know more about some celebrity's sex life than they know about their own mind, their body, their emotions, their relationships, their business, their career, or their spiritual part of their life. And so I thought, those are the areas that matter, right? It's your body, it's your emotions, it's the sense of meaning in life. It's relationships. That's where all the joy and happiness comes from. It's your career or your work, or hopefully it's your mission, your calling. It's really mastering your finances so you're free. And it's being able to celebrate and contribute that makes life so meaningful. And if you really focus on those areas, I decided that's what life's about. And I want to learn from the very best in every one of those areas. But then also, a lot of people say, well, yeah, I got to work on me. And then you get trapped in yourself. So you got to balance that by giving back. And a lot of people, I have a friend, Mike Keys, who I've known for 44 years, I think. We both went to Jim Rohn's seminar back when I was 17. He was, I think, 23 at the time. And we were both broke. He was a little less broke than I am. He could pay for the hotel room. And the seminar back in those days was, it was just, what was it, a 3-day seminar, 3.5-day seminar, all day, all night, showing you leadership skills, management, time management, all these different tools. And I had to borrow $1,200 to go there. It would be like $12,000 today if you look at inflationary dollars. And went to a bank, didn't have the right ability to do it, convinced them to loan me the money, took $1,200. It was such a huge investment, man. When I was in that seminar, Mike and I met, and Mike let me stay in his room because I would have been sleeping in my car otherwise, because literally I took every penny I had to go to the seminar. And when I was in the seminar, because I invested so much, it's like I didn't miss a thing. I didn't go to pee. I just sat there. If he said the, I wrote the down. In fact, at one point, I found out every word was worth like 3 cents. It's not going to miss anything. But what's so interesting is both of us grew like crazy. And the other day, when I was reading one of my books, I think it was Life Force, and he was sitting beside him, and the guy looked over and said, have you seen this guy? Have you ever heard about this guy, Tony Robbins? And he goes, yeah, I think I heard a little about. What? Tell me about him. He goes, wow, he's amazing. He's got these tools, and I've learned these things and changed my body and my mind. And he's really philanthropic also. He does all these great things. And he said, but of course he's rich, so that's easy. And Mike said, really, you think he does that just because he's rich? He said, what would you say if I told you I'd known him since he was 17 years old? And I can remember he was 17, he had no money, and he took the little bit of money he had and went out and fed 2 families for Thanksgiving. He said, what if I told you the next year he did 4 and then 8? And now you read about him doing 100 million meals a year, 1 billion meals. It's like, the thing what Tony would say to you, and it is what I say to all of you, is if you won't give a dime out of $1, you're sure as heck not going to give 1 million out of 10 million, or 100 million out of 1 billion. Is not going to happen. But there's something more magical. It's not about the money. I remember I was interviewing Sir John Templeton, and I was asking, what's the secret to wealth? And he said, you teach it, Tony. I've heard this many times. I said, well, I teach a lot of things again, just like Warren had said to me. I said, well, but what aspect of what I teach? He said, Tony, it's really what you talk about of adding value. But what makes you really wealthy is gratitude and appreciation. He said, if you can give when it's uncomfortable, he goes, that's where you're going to grow. He goes, I don't know a single person who practiced tithing, giving 10% of what they earn, who hasn't become wealthy within 5 to 10 years. Not a single person in my lifetime. And he goes, I did it. And he said, but most people say they're going to do that when it's comfortable. They're going to do it when it's ready. And he said, the other part you need besides the giving is just the gratitude. He goes, if you got $1 billion and you're angry all the time, your life is angry. But if whatever you have, you're really grateful for it every single day, your family, your health, your vitality, whatever, your opportunities, he said, then you're really a wealthy man. And I can remember I had done this, thank God, so I could relate to this at the time when I was really struggling. I'd gone to work for Jim Rohn. I succeeded and then had a real challenging time. Anytime you start a new business, that tends to happen. You have some learnings. And I was feeling just beaten to the ground and exhausted. And I was like, God, why is this not working? I've given my all. And I was focused on me. And I realized it's because I'm focused on me now. I started out being focused on everybody else. Now I'm focused on what I'm not getting. And I remember I pulled over on the side of the road and I still have to this day this journal, a full page, a written journal I wrote, The Secret to Living is Giving. And I started to cry and it started to change my life. And a few weeks later, I had almost no money. And without telling you the whole story right now, I gave away the last, $21, 19 change, whatever it was that I had to a person that needed it. And I wasn't going to have money for food. I wasn't even worried about it. It was this weird thing. It's suddenly by giving, I was freed. I was freed from scarcity. I know people that are billionaires that are still scarce, meaning they still worry about stuff. They have more money than they could ever spend because you don't ever get beyond scarcity. You start beyond it. It's a decision. So if you can what I'd encourage you to do is go help somebody who's worse off than you. If you think your life's in a tough place, find somebody tougher and help them. Or take your kids and go to a food shelter and feed people for even an hour once a month. If you do it, it'll change your life forever. Because number one, it'll remind you how lucky you are. And number two, it'll remind you that you're here to give. And when you're a giver instead of a taker, boy, life becomes so much more beautiful. And these 5 simple little things, every day, feeding and strengthening your mind. 30 minutes a day, audio or reading, but going getting something conscious, not the crap that comes to you on your phone, not clickbait, not something that's going to pull you down a rabbit hole on some social media element. Something conscious that's going to make you grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, or give you new skills. And then if every day you do something to strengthen and feed that body of yours, to make it stronger, something that pushes it, even just for a few minutes. And by the way, one of the things you can do also each day, I do, is called priming. And if you want, I'll give you a little gift. Go to TonyRobbins.com/priming, PRIMING. And there's a 10-minute process I do every single day to prepare my mind for the day. It's called priming. I encourage you to do it. But if you do that, and you do that with your body, and then you find some great role models, that'll help you make your goals real. And then you take massive action, keep changing your approach, and you give much more than you expect to receive, it's impossible. It doesn't always come back from the person you gave to, by the way. Well, you're busy noticing they're not giving, and someone back here is giving you something you're not noticing, It's just the beautiful cycle of life. So I hope that you'll look at these as 5 daily habits. Because when people ask me, like, what do you do to stay in this place? Well, it's not like I went to a seminar once, 45 years ago, 46 years ago, and then my life was perfect. That'd be like saying I worked out once and now I'm fit for life. No. If you have a great life, you have daily practices, right? So here's what I do. 1, so I could train my mind to use alpha thinking. Alpha thinking puts you in a gorgeous state where you're able to find great solutions. It's a part of your brain. I do these things still. So I do something once or twice a year like that. And then the most important thing I do is I have coaches. In my case, I have 4 of them. They're all 18 to 20 years my senior. They're all geniuses in their right mind. Because even though I know a ton, we all need somebody we can bounce off of just briefly. Once a month or twice a month, 20, 30 minutes, but where you're being held accountable, but also where you're learning from someone who's already done it. Which is what I've learned for over my life. That's how you keep making major progress. But the most important thing is a daily practice. It's making sure you have something you're doing every day that you do that makes you stronger, wiser, more loving, more passionate, more alive, more healthy, and more on target for what matters. Because otherwise, the world will pull your attention. Because remember, we don't experience life. We experience the life we focus on. And what's wrong is always available. And there's someone who's going to show it to you. But so is what's right. What's right is always available. Solutions are always available. But if you have these kind of daily practices, you'll create that momentum. So I hope these 5 things. Are you willing to do them? 20, 30 minutes a day, no less than 20, 30 minutes a day, reading or audio. 2, at least 5, 10 minutes, ideally 15 to 20 minutes to get your body strong every day. A simple practice that you're going to do. 3, find those role models and study them. 4, put a massive action plan together and do the first thing. If it doesn't work, just change your approach. If it doesn't work, change again. Find a good role model and you'll know the shortcut of how to get there quicker. And then finally, give more than you expect to receive. All right? So listen, here's my announcement. I was thinking a lot about reading some of you, and especially some of you that went to the challenge. You got this great momentum, and that was January. Now some time has gone by, and guess what? There's a momentum starts to drop a little bit. It's natural. That's why you got to retrain. It's like building a muscle. And so I thought about, for a lot of people, it's like trying to go to an event seems like a lot. Now we've made them now, you can do them in your home. And we've made the price point so much lower because you don't have to travel and do hotels and things of that nature. But I want to do something where no one is left behind. And so for years, people have said, Tony, I put all this stuff for free on YouTube and people listen to it every day. But the challenge is it's just random, something to inspire you. And I think inspiration is great. That's why I put it out there for people. But I've spent my life building systems to get results. You don't get results just by being inspired. It's a good first step. But, being pumped up is wonderful, but, an excited chicken with their head cut off is not going to do well. We need very specific strategies to change our finances, very specific strategies to move up in our careers or in building our businesses, very specific strategies to transform our energy and our health and our vibrancy, very specific things to make your relationships not just okay and good, but passionate, right? And so for my life, what I've done is figure out who are the best in the world and study them to figure out what are they doing different than me or you or anyone else, and then put that into what I call an e-cubing format, a format where it's so entertaining, you're engaged, but you also are getting the second E, the best education, the tools that really work. And then while you're in state, getting you to do some small step. If you do a small step every day, you get momentum. If you have to take one giant step, people tend to be overwhelmed. They're afraid of failing or it's not going to work. So I've built these systems over the years, and I've got literally hundreds of hours of programs on your body, on learning to master your time, on learning how to master your relationship, on what to do to make change, lasting change. People say, I lost 100 pounds, 10 pounds, 10 times, same 10 pounds. No, I'm talking about lasting change, where you make the change and it stays. And so those programs over the years have been built, and they're each about $300 each, and there's more than a dozen of them, 13 or 14. So here's what I've done. I decided, and people wanted me to coach them. That's not practical. I coach maximum 7 people a year. I charge $1 million each to coach. I only coach them 3 times a year for about 90 minutes individually. But I'm able to produce great value. And I'm one of the people I've coached now for, 23 years, to give you an idea in that area. So here's what I've created. I've created something called the Inner Circle. Because people said for years, could you put something together and make all this available? And here's what it is really simply. I've taken all of the programs, the audiovisual programs that I've built, and the systems of change, and put them so you have them available 24/7, 365 on an app. So no matter where you are, whenever you need it, I'm there with the tools you need. And so you can have that daily practice, something you do 20, 30 minutes a day with the very best of what we found. And literally more than 3 or 4 years worth of content for you if you did it every day, to give you an idea. It's that valuable. And then the second thing I did is I said I got everybody a group coach so that once a month you can come on and be guided through one of those programs so you make really measurable results. And then the third part of that is really me joining you, just like this, 3 times a year in your home to do a session and do Q&A about what's happening in the world, what's happening in your lives. And it's pretty phenomenal. I get to be here, invite you into my home, I get to be invited in your home, and literally do this 3 times a year so that you're getting this continuous input. And then finally, you're part of a community of people, of like-minded people that are committed to taking their life to the next level. So it's called the Tony Robbins Inner Circle. And here's the cool thing. It's got literally thousands of dollars of the value in it of different programs that I built over the years, and the coaching and me. And the whole program is literally, so no one gets left behind, it's $97 a month, literally. And if you want to, and you pay for the year in advance, I think you save 33% or 3 months or something like that. They'll tell you on the screen. But if this appeals to you, if you'd like to keep the momentum going and you want a program that's going to give you the answers for each area of your life, and want to visit with me 3 times a year from your home, and want to be part of an incredible community and have coaching all at a price point that's lower than anything we've done before, then decide to join Inner Circle. It's $97 a month or whatever the amount is, paid in full there. You save 3 months or 33%. We'd love to have you. So I hope these 5 keys are valuable. If you decide not to be over Inner Circle, please apply those 5. And I hope that you decide to join me and that we can have an ongoing relationship like this. And I just want to thank you for your time. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And I'm going to throw you back to our team here and to KK. Sending you all my best. Live strong and live with passion.
All right, don't go anywhere yet. I've got just a few minutes left with you. I want to share a bit. You heard Tony talk about it, about Tony'sInnerCircle.com. That is the direct link. If you want to go and read all the information about it that Tony shared, Tony'sInnerCircle.com is how you can join this powerful community. I want to take a moment and just walk through the details of this incredible community. I've been so excited for you to finally hear about it. And we have a couple bonuses that you haven't heard about just yet that I'm going to share, and it's just for all of you tuning in today. So first things first, what is the Inner Circle? At the core, this community, Inner Circle, is the best way to guarantee that you do not fall off of your path. I like to say this is the greatest growth and self-development training club on the planet, because it really is, and it's the only way, one of the only ways, to have this type of proximity to not just Tony's teachings, but also Tony himself. So again, here are all the beautiful pieces of the inner circle that Tony shared on. I just want to make sure you don't miss it. So grab a pen. You could take some notes if it serves you. And again, you could always go to tonysinnercircle.com. Right now, you can throw the link in the chat box so you can click it and go see everything I'm sharing. You can see right there. But the first thing you're going to get is virtual mentoring from Tony 3 times a year. You know, most people in our inner circle community sign up just for this, and everything else is just a bonus. But what you get is 3 times a year live on a Zoom call with Tony Robbins himself for about 90 minutes, Tony Standard Time. So give or, take. Okay, it's definitely probably going to go over. But what you're doing is you go from being on YouTube or streaming an event on Facebook or something to being on a Zoom call with Tony in his home, okay? And what he's talking about is a topic that is relevant to the time of year. So it's whatever is top of mind for him that he feels this community needs to know. He'll pop up these training calls, and he does a true him to you training for 90 minutes. So the next event is going to be October 5th, and all of you that join the Inner Circle will be invited. This will be the final virtual training of the year in the Inner Circle. So it's going to be really, really special. Again, Tony'sInnerCircle.com. Those of you that are automatically in to have him for 3 times a year for $97, I know that's absolutely crazy. You can go right now and get yourself signed up. And the other piece that's really important is you're going to get Tony's entire suite of training courses right in the palm of your hand on your cell phone. So we have an app, and over the last 46 years, Tony's created trainings in every area you could possibly imagine. If you need a training for your physical body or your health, we have that. Sales, your finances, time management, relationship. I mean, the list is truly endless, but you have all of these trainings unlocked so you can train on them whenever you want to. Pop your earbuds in, learn directly from Tony on how to transform your lives in so many different categories. And you can do this in your net time, while you're at the gym or while you're driving in the car or while you're, running errands or doing things around the house. They're audio programs and they're go on your own pace. And what's most cool about this is the access that you get. If you were to just go online and buy all of these courses a la carte, it would be over $2,500. But in the Inner Circle, you get immediate access to everything, again, for $97. So Tony'sInnerCircle.com, you can get all those programs and start immediately right now or tonight. The next thing you get is monthly live group coaching workshops. And these are really special because it's a chance to go deeper on what you're learning. And they're optional. You can join them if you want to work with a top results coach to really break down Tony's teachings, decipher what action items will support you in going further faster, and most importantly, hold you accountable. Our community loves these training sessions. And the best part, I just alluded to, is actually the community. It is the greatest community on the planet, and I am a part of it. So I feel very excited to share with you that if you're anything like most people I know, we weren't just born into an incredible community of people or a family that is committed to the same standard of life that you may be. And I heard Tony say one time, then go find that community. Go find those people and get in proximity to them, because proximity is power. In the Inner Circle, you're with a community of people who are as committed to getting the most out of life. More love, more passion, more joy, more success, more abundance in your relationship, more health in your body, all of it. It's people that want that same level of success. And so Tony'sInnerCircle.com, again, gives you all this information, and you can be a part of this community immediately. I'll wrap with this. Tony's mission in this life is to change lives everywhere. And that means to do it everywhere, you need 2 things: ease and you need access. Ease, because this is not supposed to be a part-time job. How many of you are juggling a million things in your life right now? The Inner Circle gives you the ability to, in bite-sized ways, consume this content and continue to evolve and continue to learn. And the second thing is access. This is a price point that you just truly cannot beat. Tony trains presidents of the United States. He has a wait list for years. People pay millions of dollars for minutes of his time, and you can get an instant access experience for $97 in the Inner Circle. Or if you go in for a full year, if you choose the full 12-month option, you can get an incredible discount. So go check that out. Again, Tony'sInnerCircle.com. And we are going to provide a couple bonuses. They're like Christmas presents, so you can open them whenever you want. The first bonus for those of you that sign up is a one-on-one strategy coaching call. You know, getting off track is the single biggest reason people lose momentum in their life. So these strategy calls are designed to help you decipher your personal plan just for you to get what you want out of your life. And we have a coaching call to do that. And then when you sign up for a full 12 months, a full year for this membership, you're also going to get another special bonus. And we call that the Ultimate Transformation Toolkit. In this Transformation Toolkit, you're going to get a 4-part training series that's going to help you learn how to crush fear and really step into a place of abundance. And you'll do that by watching some of Tony's most impactful interventions that he's ever done. So all of this, you guys, Tony'sInnerCircle.com. And until the timer on that page hits 0, you still have a chance to get this incredible price with these bonuses. You'll get immediate access for $97. So you might as well take this for a test drive. Some of the most frequently asked questions our community sends in. Number 1, can I get a refund? Totally. So take this for a test drive. Take it for a spin, for 30 days. If you don't absolutely love this community and the Inner Circle, we'll give you a refund. But remember, Tony's goes live on October 5th. So I would get in and secure your chance to be with him for that training. Some people also ask, is this the best deal? The best deal is actually when you select the annual option for the 12 months. You'll get a few months free for committing to the full year, so I encourage you to do that. And then the final, insight that I have to share with you is consider inviting friends or family to join you on this. A $97 decision could completely change the dynamic of your family and your community by bringing people along to do this with you. So you can just share them the link, Tony'sInnerCircle.com. This is really a $97 commitment between you and you that says you're no longer available to settle for less than you deserve in this life. And so I hope you take the next step into the Inner Circle and we can be in this community together. The world absolutely needs your greatness. And so I hope you get yourself signed up and we can see you on the other side in the Inner Circle and at the next live training with Tony Robbins. Thank you guys so much. One last time, Tony'sInnerCircle.com. We'll see you on the other side. We love you. Thank you for tuning in to today's event. Live strong, live with passion, and remember, life will never be the same again. Let's leave with some energy. Shake the building. Come on. We love you guys. We'll see you soon.
like I'm feeling on top of the world, like nothing's ever gonna bring me down. This feeling got me flying high as a bird. I may never touch the ground. It may not be my birthday, but I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate, 'cause it's a good day, good life. I just wanna celebrate all night. There's magic coursing throughout my veins. I don't want it to stop. I feel invincible in every way. I'ma give it all I got. It may not be my birthday, but I just wanna celebrate. I just wanna celebrate, 'cause it's a good day, good life. I just wanna celebrate all night. There's nothing like feeling alive. There's nothing like feeling